youth, arts, culture, Spectrum. Right now on TRAXXfm.
You're tuned into Spectrum for today, Tuesday, March 15, 2022, with yours truly, Kong Yu. This hour joined by my special guests on the topic of the youth of Keluarga Malaysia, right? Touching base with the Vice President of the Malaysian Youth Council, Mohamed Khairul Azman. Abdul Aziz joins me right now for the segment today. First of all, welcoming in Mohamed Khairul into the studios via the phone lines, all right, for today's interview. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Konyu.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Appreciate you taking time out to be with us, even though you can't make it to the studios live, but getting you on the phone and taking time out from your schedule, that's appreciated. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Likewise, appreciate it.
You're welcome, right? And just a quick note for our listeners right now that we are also live now on Facebook. If you'd like to basically have that interaction going there, and if you have a question and comment, that's actually the best way to get in touch with us as the interview progresses in the studios, of course, via the phone lines with our guests today. Yeah, so we are at TRAXXfm official on our Facebook. We have gone live there as well. Yeah. First up, of course, we need to find out from the Vice President himself, right, of the Youth Council. Yeah. Tell us more about the Malaysian Youth Council. Who is behind? What is the core team, and what are your objectives?
Yeah. First of all, once again, Kong, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of Majlis Belia Malaysia and Malaysian Youth Council (MYC) for this opportunity to speak directly to millions of youth out there.
You're welcome.
So just a little bit of history on MYC. So basically, the early establishment of MYC was the result of the establishment of student movement that opposed the foundation and the formation of the Malayan Union back then. So we go way back. And it was established on 23rd of July, 1948, where 75 representatives from youth organizations met at the Victoria Institution and established the Malayan Youth Council. They call it the Malayan Youth Council back then before independence, and now it's the Malaysian Youth Council. So we have 41 youth organizations under us, and these are, we call them as affiliated bodies. So these are 41 youth organizations around the country that is well established and then have thousands of membership around the country. So they are all under us, and we are moving as one team, one big team, to talk about youth and also to create events, programs for the youth.
Well, I mean, I like that. I mean, a touch of history there as well, isn't it? You're talking about the establishment way back when and all that. But what would you say overall are the responsibilities, at large of the Malaysian Youth Council now? What do you carry on your shoulders these days?
Yeah. So basically, MYC, we act as a main body to accommodate youth movement around Malaysia, and we encourage and motivate youth organizations to play a positive and effective role to society and the country. And we act as a parent body that coordinates youth and student organizations in the country to facilitate and advise youth from different backgrounds, ethnicity, religious beliefs, and activities on social works, community engagement, and many more. So we basically promote social change and development among youth organizations which have direct access to Malaysian youth at home. And that's what we do. And basically, of course, the most important thing to me is that we act as a representative body for the youth to convey the voice of the youth to the government. And we also cooperate with the government in implementing programs, activities related to youth development from the aspect of education, research, and human resource development.
Okay, can you share with us some specific projects and also programs that MYC is currently involved in?
Yeah, so basically the past few events and programs that we have done or involved in is, for example, the marketability program that provides training covering career soft skills, resume writing, job application strategies, interview and communication strategies, upskilling, reskilling, digital entrepreneurship skills, and many more that we have done over the past few years for the youth, especially during the pandemic, when we know that is a crucial time for many unemployed youth out there, and that's what we are trying to do. And we even have this School of Politics under us that we did to educate young generation that have interest in politics to understand the basic concept of democracy, Malaysian government system, political structure in Malaysia, and general election as a whole. And we have Relawan MBM, we call it, to encourage volunteers from diverse backgrounds to become a model to support the idea of sukarelawan or volunteers in Malaysia, and also Youth Entrepreneur Hub, for example, that we had to provide training in various fields of entrepreneurship that we also do. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there.
Okay, we'll find out more as well before we wrap up today's segment, right? But in recent years, I want to talk a bit about this because transparency is actually very important these days, Kan, when it comes to aspects such as funding, isn't it? Always getting a lot of attention, and these days that's the best way to be, is basically be as transparent as possible, isn't it? Now, the PM announced that you guys, the council, right, the Malaysian Youth Council, will be receiving 500,000 ringgit in funds. What is your reaction to this? As well as, of course, share with us as well the capacity that these funds will be used in.
Yeah. First of all, on behalf of the MBM and NYC, of course, we'd like to thank the Prime Minister. I mean, this is a manifestation that the Prime Minister and the government, really put the youth, in a very high position in terms of their respect and also appreciation in terms of youth movement in the country as a whole. And, of course, when we talk about transparency, I mean, that's the thing that we should condone, and that's what we also in NYC would like to share and also do. In fact, our financial details, it's being presented every time when we have meetings and all that, so it's quite transparent in that manner. And for this specifically fund that just announced by the Prime Minister, basically, like I said, we have 41 youth organizations under us, or affiliated bodies. So NYC gives priority to administrative funding for all these affiliated bodies under it. And as well at the district level, we have about 103 district youth council. All right. So this is to ensure that the youth organization at the grassroots levels can continue to be active in running programs and strengthen the organization itself. In fact, awareness on youth organizations and the impact it brings can and should be improved. And I know that there are more talents to be discovered, some professionals and some practically skilled youth that could be part of our community to contribute to Malaysia's youth development. So all these funds are going to be channeled just to do that.
Right, so lots allocation there allocation time matters, which is not always the easiest, and I'm sure that that's part of your responsibility as well as VP. Not the simplest role, right? To make sure that it goes to the proper capacity and also to the proper causes, and which one, in terms of the urgency and priority, that's always a tough one to decide, isn't it? Yeah, this is an interesting question. Let's go to it before we go for our short break. This one, a question that was drafted by my producers. According to the latest stats, 50% of road accidents, unfortunately, these days involve Malaysian youths. Right. What's happening? I mean, in terms of getting into the perspective, and of course for you being the Vice President of the Youth Council, right? In your opinion, why is this happening? And more importantly, isn't it, what can we do to reduce this statistic?
I think I saw this stat. In fact, recently I think the stat also was raised by our Prime Minister, voicing out his concern on the increasing number of youth involved in road accidents, which could potentially affect economic growth as well of our country, as the reflection of Malaysia's future is highly dependent on the youth. And talents coming from the youth bracket who were involved in accidents is a big loss for Malaysia's economy. So to me, I think on behalf of NYC, law enforcement must be stricter, but at the same time have the capacity to also educate instead of just punishing. In fact, if you look in the case of Australia, for example, a traffic offense such as driving over the speed limit, for example, will be fined up to $400 US dollar actually immediately, and no special days for discount. And not to burden the people, but this is for the safety and lives of the people. And, a softer approach by conducting road safety classes or, on their first couple of offense have the potential to also, psychologically train young drivers or riders to be more efficient road users. And, of course, suspension of license due to individual negligence will always be on the table. I think that's what also we're proposing. But with the experience that NYC has dealing with youth organizations all over Malaysia, we could collaborate with agencies and regulators in coming up with a better road safety program that is more suitable for today's youth, that could potentially result in a more responsible young motorist. I think this is also one of the things that we will discuss further with our new leadership in the upcoming meeting.
Okay, it's since we were talking about that 500,000 ringgit funding as well. So, is there a portion of that that's going to this awareness?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that could be part of the program that we're going to host. Yeah, definitely.
Right. Okay. All right, we're going to go for a very short break. I'm going to just get you to hold the line. Yeah.
Thank you.
So stay on the line with us, and when we come back in under 30 seconds from now, more with the VP, the Vice President of the Malaysian Youth Council, right here on Spectrum on TRAXXfm. So make sure you keep it locked out right here on Trax.
Enjoy rides and dips in the river with the elephants in Kuala Ganda. TRAXXfm 105.3 Kuantan, Pahang.
Welcome back to Spectrum right here on TRAXXfm. Calling you on the program live in the studios of TRAXXfm over the airwaves, as well as available over Facebook Live now. If you'd like to join us on our Facebook Live feed, we are live at TRAXXfm Official. As I'm speaking to the Vice President of the Malaysian Youth Council, Mohamed, Khairul, Azman, Abdul, Aziz, right here on of course, the functions, the overall history, background, and the current roles and responsibilities of the council. Yeah, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your presence via the phone lines today. Right,
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now we're talking about the overall roles, responsibilities, and so on in the previous segment. So of course, if you missed that, then when we go off live, you can just review the contents thus far on our Facebook Live feed. When it is post-live. But in the meantime, right, share with us as well the broader perspective, yeah? The aspirations overall, because times have changed. The Youth Council has progressed, yeah? From the earlier days, decades ago, right, up to where you guys are now at the moment. What are your current aspirations for Malaysian youths?
Yeah, I think we from NYC, we wish and we want to see more youth, are involved in national movement, which requires youth to take part in learning and knowing current issues, global and local, political state of the country, and able to differentiate between facts and virality of social media sentiment. I mean, we have to be frank, today youth are more inclined towards entertainment-based media outlets, which may shape their way of thinking.
Yep.
It is important to balance entertainment and reality. And, entertainment can be used, it can be a useful tool if it's used wisely. And NYC and all organizations under it are the perfect platform to positively utilize any skills that youth possess, whereby youth from, any backgrounds are welcome to contribute ideas and share knowledge based on their field of expertise, which will lead to a better growth of the youth. And by doing so, we will be able to produce more young leaders under the age of 30 in leading youth associations at every level. I mean, as you know, now youth leadership is being capped at 30 years old moving forward. So it's very important that we have to prep and prepare these younger generations under 30, to understand their role and to be more active in national movement when we talk about youth development.
Right, where the responsibility comes, right, with the power, right, especially when it comes to the right for vote and all
Exactly.
that, the key developments there. So, and with that also, the very important part of, I wouldn't say education, it's just sort of putting things in the right perspective.
Yeah.
We have the transparency that is available to all Malaysians, youth included, to the extent of so much more than it's ever been. Right, and we've seen the progress and the access to information, for example, that is so much more widely available compared to even just maybe 5 to 10 years ago, right? So, what are some of the NYC programs in store for our Malaysian youths overall? That's one, and specifically in relation to what we are touching upon right now. Basically, making sure that everybody is informed and aware, and correctly so, amidst the whole accessibility of what is available out there online and also on social media, including a lot of fake news, unfortunately.
Yeah. Before that, just for the audience information and your information,
Okay.
Gong Yu, the new leadership just being elected a few weeks ago, including myself. We had an election a few weeks ago, and also we are currently having a new leadership leading the MYC at the moment. And the current leadership will focus on more hands-on activities, which will cover current issues that is faced by most youth. And I think this includes mental health, climate change, leadership are among the also common topics that are close to youth interest. Hence, more programs, brainstorming session will be planned in order to have a clear vision of youth path that would aid the government in pursuing better strategy to dignify Malaysian youth. And the first meeting by our new leadership will be held very soon by our president, and will be announced very, very soon. And in the near future, of course, youth community will be capped at 30 years old, as I mentioned just now.
Mm-hmm.
Very important for this bracket to understand their full potential in order to lead communities. And it is MYC's responsibility to ensure relevant preparation must be done and their potential are discovered prior to this. In fact, not to brag, but me, myself, be given the opportunity to become the vice president. I'm 26 years old, under 30. So this is a manifestation that MYC is really serious in looking on for many more younger generation, younger leaders out there that is below 30 years old.
Right. As we draw towards the wrap of today's interview, number one, of course, thanks for being with us. Number two, right? Where can the public overall get more information on the NYC? How can they become members? What sort of activities would be suitable for people aspiring to be members and so on? Share with us.
Mm-hmm. So basically, I have to reiterate this, that MYC is not a club. So MYC is an organization or an NGO that coordinates 41 youth organizations under it, so the affiliated bodies that I mentioned. So individuals who are interested can join any of these organizations that suits them, and will have direct access to the MYC leadership and vision. So they have to choose between all these 41 youth organizations that are registered under us. There's tons of them, so they can just go and look under our website. They can even find us from our Facebook, Majlis Boleh Malaysia, or Instagram, or our official website of Majlis Boleh Malaysia, and then they can see the list of all the 41 youth organizations that they feel are close to their heart and close to their vision and aspiration that they can join, and they will be part of MYC automatically.
Okay, and as we wrap up, what are your final thoughts and words for our listeners? You've got, your whatchamacallit, the podium for today, right? What would you like to share with all the Malaysian youth listening in at the moment?
All right. One thing before I end is that keep in mind, again, that MYC, Malaysian Youth Council, is an NGO. So we are not associated with any political party.
Right.
It is a platform for everybody. Hence, why I urge all youth to be part of this movement in advocating youth power by joining organizations under the purview of MYC, because by doing so, undiscovered young leaders will have a right platform in voicing out their opinions and knowledge for the betterment of Malaysia. And lastly, before I end, do not waste your young age. Use it well, use it wisely, and contribute to your family, to your community, and for your country.
Okay, well said there, right? Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. The Vice President of the Malaysian Youth Council, Mohamed, Khairul, Azman, Abdul, Aziz, here with us on Spectrum on TRAXXfm. Of course, you've joined us on Facebook. Thank you so much for being with us there. Of course, quick little shout-outs to Patricia, who had the earliest morning welcome there, to everybody who was listening, including our guests of the day. And similarly, also a little shout-out to CMS Fred as well, watching live from Cebu, Sarawak. Hi to everyone listening in from Cebu, Sarawak as well. Wrapping up today's and this week's Spectrum on TRAXXfm. Lots more to come right here on Trax Momentum with yours truly, Kong Yu. So make sure you still keep it locked right here on TRAXXfm all day long. And I'll be back in a few moments. Take care and check in with you as we wrap up Spectrum on TRAXXfm this week. Stay tuned.
We will be back next week for more topics, issues, tips, and insights. Spectrum, youth, arts, culture. Only on TRAXXfm.